The Dyatlov Pass of America, the Yuba County Five, 1978. Before we dive into one of the most chilling unsolved mysteries in American history, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a story like this. In February of 1978, five young men vanished in the snowy wilderness of California's Sierra Nevada. They were friends, teammates, and sons, normal young men who simply went to a basketball game and never came home. Months later, their bodies were discovered in chilling, almost impossible circumstances. One was never found at all. What happened that night? Was it an accident, a crime, or something even stranger? This is the story of the Yuba County Five, the Dyatlov Pass of America. The men. The five men were often referred to as the boys, even though they were all between 24 and 32 years old. Each had mild intellectual disabilities or psychiatric conditions, yet they functioned independently with strong family ties. They were Gary Mathias, 25, an Army veteran under treatment for schizophrenia; Bill Sterling, 29, Jack Madruga, 30, an Army veteran and the driver of the group's car; Ted Weiher, 32, Jack Hoot, 24, the youngest of the five. They shared a deep friendship and a love for sports. On February 24th, 1978, they drove from their homes in Yuba City to Chico, California, to watch a college basketball game. They were excited because the next day they had a game of their own in a Special Olympics-style basketball tournament. The disappearance. The men never returned home that night. Their families grew alarmed almost immediately. These were not men prone to wild adventures or disappearing acts. By the following morning, when none of them showed up for their own basketball game, panic set in. Days later, investigators found their car abandoned on a lonely mountain road, more than 70 miles from Chico High up in the Plumas National Forest, far from any route they should have taken home. The car, a turquoise Mercury Montego, wasn't stuck. It had enough fuel, and the keys were missing. It seemed as though the men had simply walked away. The mountains were still deep in snow. Search parties scoured the region, but weeks passed with no trace of the five. Then came spring, and with the thaw came answers, and even more questions. In June, 4 months after their disappearance, a group of motorcyclists made a horrifying discovery. At a remote U.S. Forest Service trailer, about 20 miles from where the car had been abandoned, they found the body of Ted Weiher. He was emaciated, wrapped in sheets, and had grown a full beard, suggesting he had survived for weeks after the disappearance. In the trailer, there was food, canned meals, and other supplies, but most of it remained untouched. A propane tank that could have provided heat was never used. Weiher had died slowly, of starvation and exposure, despite being surrounded by what could have saved him. The other bodies? Nearby searchers soon discovered more. The bodies of Sterling and Madruga were found along a forest road, as though they had collapsed while trying to walk back toward help. Hoot's remains were located a bit farther away, scattered by animals. But Gary Mathias, the one man with military survival training, was never found. To this day, his body has never been recovered. Theories and mysteries. The strange details made investigators and families question what really happened. Why had they driven so far into the mountains, away from their homes? Why abandon a working car? Why didn't they use the food and heat inside the trailer? Some believe they became disoriented and panicked in the snow. Others suspect foul play, that someone lured or chased them into the wilderness. One theory suggests Mathias may have suffered a psychiatric episode and led the group astray. Still others whisper about something darker, parallels to the Dyatlov Pass incident in the Soviet Union, where a group of young hikers died under bizarre, unexplained conditions 2 decades earlier. But without Gary Mathias, the one missing link, the truth has remained forever out of reach. Aftermath. The families of the Yuba County Five were left with grief and a lifetime of unanswered questions. For decades, the case has remained a haunting riddle. How did a night of basketball with friends end in starvation, exposure, and death in the mountains? Why was one of them never found? The Yuba County Five remain frozen in history, five young men caught in a mystery that feels less like real life and more like a dark legend. Some mysteries fade with time, but others, like the fate of the Yuba County Five, linger like an echo, refusing to let go. Was it fear? Was it madness? Or was it something we'll never understand? This was the Dyatlov Pass of America, and until the day the last question is answered, it remains one of the most chilling unsolved mysteries in U.S. history.